Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi guys and welcome back to another video. So today is Friday the 29th of December 2023. Actually the last Friday of 2023, and if self-improvement content, growth content, planning and setting goals, and the whole idea of self-improvement is your favorite cup of tea, you're probably seeing a lot of this content right now on your timeline, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever social media platform you're actually on. So it's not a surprise, actually it's an expected type of content to be running through social media at this point. And a lot of the content is focusing on reflecting on what the year has been, how to plan for 2024, how to make sure that you are starting off 2024 in the right foot, on the right foot, how to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success in 2024, and so many of that content. Well, that content is good in itself. I probably want to shift a little bit and try to talk about something else, something not really much deviating from the mainstream of that train, of content. But then what I would want to talk about in this video is that it's really important for us to have this content, because it makes us look back at whatever the year has been, whatever we've been through, whatever we are going through, and where we actually are in terms of progress and in terms of growth and everything in between. So what I would want to highlight in this video, it's something that I've been talking about on the channel. Not only, like, this is not the first time. If you've been here for a very long time, you probably have heard me, of like, you've watched a video of me talking about this topic previously, maybe in somewhere in 2020 or like 2021, or like in one of my videos, or like so many of my videos before. And the whole idea is actually change. Change is, like I said in one of the videos, is like one of the constant things that we have in life. Like, you are always guaranteed of change. I will give you guys an example, just a practical exercise right now. Try to look back at your life. Look back at your life not so long ago. Just try to look back at January 1st or January 10th, 2023. Try to look back and see who you are as a person, financially, academically, emotionally, physically, so many aspects, whatever aspects you define your life in. Try to look at yourself in those angles, trying to look at yourself in that, from that lens, and see where you are. Maybe try to recall where you are in January, if you actually can, and then try to see the person you are right now in December, or like whatever time you're actually watching this video, preferably before 2023 ends. Try to look back and see who you are, like how in those aspects of your life, maybe financially, emotionally, physically, how you've changed, and it's something that will dawn upon you that it's actually true that change is something that did happen for me this year. It's not only happening, like, it didn't only happen in this year, it actually happened last year as well, last year but one, and it's going to happen in the years to come. And this is particularly important. Why am I choosing to actually focus on this particular thing, and maybe highlight on the idea of change and how it's constant in our lives? It's because of three main things. One, it's actually to make us be aware of the present moment and make us appreciative of whatever we have. If you are currently, for instance, at a very good financial place, you probably would want to take a minute and, like, actually soak in the moment and say, and look at it and say that maybe, Alhamdulillah, I am well financially, and actually consider being grateful, and actually be grateful, because like we've stated earlier, the way you started your financial year, maybe in January 2023, isn't the way you are financially right now. Maybe you stayed the same, maybe you stayed at a plateau, but then something changed, maybe, that actually made you stay in that plateau. But what's important is that it's important to see that, in as much as things could go right, things could also go wrong. So that, all of that is change, changing for the better and changing for the worse. So it's actually important for us to highlight this idea of change and be aware, so that we can, soak in the moments of the present moments, and actually be grateful for whatever we have, and try to appreciate more of whatever we have at hand, because anything could change. And be grateful for more. وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. That's one. And then two, the idea of change is also very, very important because it allows us in future plannings for us to be flexible. It's very important for us to make goals about 2024, to make goals about our lives, to make goals about finances, to make goals about. I've really talked about finances so much in this video, but then it's really important. Like when you're making these goals for your future self, it's important for you to consider change in this particular uh, plans or goals, because it is constant and it is going to happen, and it normally comes unannounced. It comes uninvited, and it's you don't want change to come and find you in a place where this is actually building to the third point. But then you don't want change to come and actually find you, it's not something that you are actually expecting from change. So it is important that when you're planning, you actually consider change, in the matter of, like, sometimes it's physically impossible to actually prepare for change. For example, like if you are living in a place where you didn't expect to have a lot of floods, and then all of a sudden you're having a changes in climate, and then you're having floods. It's something you couldn't physically prepare for because it's something you weren't anticipating in terms of changes of the climate or anything. But then you need to also prepare just yourself psychologically, just to be there, that change is actually something that could happen, something that you don't want it to find you, evil. That's actually the second thing. In your planning you need to just be flexible. Just be flexible, that in as much as I'm planning maybe to do something in the future, I'm planning maybe to be so and so, I'm planning to do this and that, I'm planning to do that and that, and if it's maybe advance in my studies or maybe do ABCD. Put into consideration maybe that this thing you liked today might change tomorrow, and a lot of changes in terms of your career prospects, in terms of your finances, are going to change and are going to affect your future decisions. So, in as much as you plan today, factor in change. And third thing was actually, like I said, built up by the second point, is actually just to prepare yourself psychologically and mentally for change, because sometimes it's physically. What did I say? It's physically impossible to actually prepare for some type of these changes. For example, moving from country to country, moving from continent to continent, maybe moving from state to state, maybe moving from county to county, moving from city to city. It's difficult sometimes, and it's sometimes some of these things happen unexpectedly. But then if you sit down, maybe if you start living in a new place, and then you're telling yourself, this wouldn't couldn't be my permanent place. So you just have the idea that this place could change anytime. I could move anytime. So it's important, in as much as maybe you've built a permanent house, maybe, but then you still have the idea at the back of your head that things could change anytime. I know it sounds a little bit pessimistic, but just be prepared, because it could happen anytime. And it's important that you build that mental fortitude of, like, you know, yeah, it could happen actually. And in as much as it can happen, yeah, and if it does happen, at least you're somewhere better off, a little bit psychologically and mentally. And if it's something in the sense of, maybe, for example, physical health, maybe you just uh, are not prepared for illness, for example, but then you have the idea that, yes, my health could change in an instant of a moment, and I will just drastically be ill for whatever reason. It's something that mentally would get at you, but if you are prepared for the actual thing, and maybe just were not anticipating, but you have the idea that this thing could happen, at least the mental load becomes a little bit, I would say, less heavy to carry. Yeah, so that's it on today's ramble, maybe the final ramble of this year, bismillah. So I really hope this video, probably you learned something, or like you get something from it, inshallah. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like to the video, drop a comment if you want to, and I'll see you guys bismillah in the next year. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يبلغنا وإياكم كل ما نتمناه في الدنيا والآخرة. إن شاء الله ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos, and yeah, let's keep the spirit on, inshallah. Bye guys.